What is up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, giving you commentary and reviews on all things wrestling, and thank you guys so much for joining. Now, tonight, WWE NXT was one of the wildest episodes ever. We found out tonight that Bubba Ray Dudley, after being provoked by Ethan Page and Ridge Holland, will team up with Trick Williams at ECW Arena next week in Philadelphia. And the good news is we get Bubba Ray Dudley. All I'm saying is I'm going to tell you guys something funny, but hopefully he doesn't bring Joe Gardner back to ECW. Unless Joel Gardner plans on trying to keep it PG, which I don't know if he could do. For those of you who have not seen Joel Gardner back in the day, he was ECW's manager for the Dudley Boys. And every time he would make an introduction for the Dudley Boys, he would make some rather gross, almost cringy rhymes about sexuality, which was kind of yucky. But we might get tie-dye Bubba Ray next Wednesday on the ECW Arena. A part of me would like to see a table get lit on fire and Ethan Page or Ridge Holland get put through it. But we can't make any promises because WWE is PG now. Just don't make any stupid sex jokes, please, Joel. But if he comes back and decides to do his rhymes without making a bunch of gross stuff up, it'll be real cool to see for the sake of nostalgia. And speaking of nostalgia, I would love to see RVD. I'm looking forward to seeing RVD next week, as well as Dawn Marie for modest reasons, as she will referee Lola Vice versus Jada Parker. Now, let's talk about what happened this week. It was chaotic. The ending was crazy. We had an amazing tag team match between Axiom and Ethan and Frazen, if I said that correctly, and an amazing main event versus Siobhan and Cedric Alexander. And Siobhan and Alexander probably would have won that match if Siobhan was not distracted by Wesley. And I don't know what was said to them by RVD in the back, because CW cut off and went straight to the news. So I don't know what happened. All I know is I am really looking forward to next week. And of course, we saw Zaria make her warm-up debut match in very quick fashion. And of course, the Mean Girls of NXT, being Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, and Fatal Influence, came out tonight and tried to do an ambush on Zaria, only to be rescued by Kalani Jordan, who would defeat Nikita Lyons thanks to help from the woman who Nikita Lyons attacked. I told you it was Nikita that did it. We would get help from Kalani. We would get help from Stephanie Vakir, who looked like Thunder Rosa from AEW this past Sunday on Halloween Havoc. We saw Giulia and one of the greatest performers in TNA women's history come in and stand together in a 5-on-5 match. And that was when I realized for a second, I thought we were going to have War Games, but War Games is reserved for WWE's main roster. So we're going to get a 5-on-5 tag match, women's tag match next week in the ECW arena. And other good news, Bubba Ray Dudley is coming back, but I already said that. And of course, like I said, great main event. Tonight we saw Mr. King in the Heritage Cup tournament. I never told you guys this before, but I truly believe even though he's trying to prove that Mr. King is trying to prove that he is not his father, God rest his soul, the fact of the matter is he kind of reminds me more so of Chris Jericho. I don't know about you guys, but Lexus King reminds me of Chris Jericho a little bit more. The look, the way he carries himself, a little bit like Jericho. But that's my take on tonight's episode a of NXT. Excuse me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as we get ready to go into Philadelphia next week, be sure to check out my top 10 favorite matches from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, which is already up. And thank you guys so much for the 300 views you gave me on my favorite matches from Brooklyn, New York. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. And be sure to check out my favorite matches from Philadelphia as we get ready to go back to the City of Angels, home of great Philly cheesesteaks, next Wednesday for ECW Extreme NXT, or should I say in Extreme T? That might have a good ringtone to it. In Extreme T. Let me know what you think about that. I'm your host, Dan Cody. See you next time.